I'm live. Hello. It's time for a single song shows. And I'm here with my pink light and my water and a big heart full of love for everyone who joins. And hey, I see my guest, Eli Conley Music, is here. Oh, Escobar Comics is here. Yay! Eli Conley, we summon you into this space. It's kind of how it feels.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
I'm good. So good to meet you face to face, Meredith. How are you?
Good to meet you too. I've seen your face when I attended the songwriting recital,
Oh, that's right. Yes,
but that's the only time.
those are like some of the highlights of my life. I feel so incredibly grateful to get to do that.
You're really special. It was really cool, and that was where I got to hear Audra's song, the song inspired by bird watching.
Yes, I love.
Uh-huh.
I am also a bird watcher, actually. So when she first brought that song to class, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this on so many levels. I love the queer bird metaphors. I love the literal bird
Yeah.
watching. I love the music of it. So good. Are you a
Yeah.
bird person yourself?
You know, I'm not. I appreciate them. I don't have binoculars or anything. I don't go off like in search of them.
Yeah.
And I don't try to lure them to my house because I have an indoor-outdoor cat.
Ah, yes. Very smart. That probably keeps them away.
So,
Yeah, my husband and I,
yeah.
like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, kind of randomly on New Year's Day, we were like, let's go try to watch some birds. And we had like one shitty pair of binoculars between us. And we went somewhere in the South Bay and we're mostly looking at ducks. But we figured out, I think a friend told us that if you use the like Audubon bird app, it's way easier than using a book. Because you can just be like, this bird is yellow, black, and red, and it's in the water, and it's January in Northern California, and it'll give you like 5 options or whatever. So it kind of
Oh,
feels like Pokemon Go, but in the real
yeah.
world of nature.
That's fantastic. I had an app I was liking for that briefly for like anything in nature called the Seek app.
Oh my God, it's
Um,
so good. Yes.
I don't know if I need to like delete and reinstall it or something because it was like telling me nothing useful. Like at first I was like, oh my gosh, that's an orb spider. Oh, this is a whatever, like I was just discovering all these things about my surroundings. And then after a while it was like dicot. Everything was a dicot. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, it's not.
Yes, like
Stop it.
everything is a plant. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that it can like scan any plant and give you an idea of what it is, but it's definitely also wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
Hi,
It did
friends. Hi,
though.
and Marina in the chat.
Yeah, we gotta say hi to folks and gotta say thank you for the compliments we're getting too, which is very thank you, Trinidad, for saying that we're glowing. Yeah, I'm gonna remember your kindness. Um, oh, but one last little thing before we decide who's playing first.
Yeah.
My I used the Seek app last year right before Thanksgiving. We had bark chips for the first year in our front yard for like the first year of having them. And so we were getting mushrooms springing up for the
Ooh.
first time. It was really exciting and we got this big white one. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." It was like right before kind of feast time.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm going to find out what this is on the Seek app. Maybe I can cut it up and I can make a stew.
Yep.
It was a death cap mushroom, which is
Good that you had the
responsible
app
for
to
the
tell
for
you.
the most poisonings of any other mushroom that
Yeah.
exists. So yeah, that was good.
Well, and mushrooms are hard. My husband and my friend Rena, who's with us right now, have gotten really deep into mushrooming, and like, there's a lot of my friends will send them pictures sometimes and be like, "What is this?" And they're like, we'd have to like take a spore print and look at it from underneath to be able to tell you. But thankfully, most of the poisonous ones are like fairly clear. So thank
Yeah.
goodness for that. I'm glad you didn't eat it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I would not trust any app for mushrooms. Yep, you're right, Audra.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do it. Should not happen. Okay, so in this moment, how are you feeling? Are you feeling brave and bold, like getting started?
Um,
Or would you
I
like me to warm things up?
Well, it looks like you're holding your guitar, so why don't you start and
I'm
then I
always holding my guitar, though.
Okay, fair. Well, I feel like I would love to listen and then play after you if you're down.
Sure. I'll warm it up. Warm
Great.
up the space. So,
Cheers. Oh yeah, here's
always hydrating first.
for the bird.
Oh, yeah.
I have oh my god, what are they called? Remind me, Toby, in the chat who these are. They're like the really sweet birds that like to eat berries and pass them back and forth. Cedar waxwings.
Did you get it?
Yes.
Do we need Toby, or is Toby dismissed? Okay, Toby, you're dismissed. Well, I don't know. The chat's a little bit slow. We'll see if Toby was right. Maybe Toby was tapping the keys, getting the answer out there.
There it is. Cedar waxwings.
There we go. Yep. Nice. Nice. Okay, here we go. So this is a song that I wrote, that I finished around this time last year for my nephew, and I saw him yesterday. So thinking about him. Okay. All is right with the world in the arms of your family. Think girls that all in sleep. No, when you wake, your mom and dad will be here, right here, right here, here, right here, right here. A few bars of our common history has been on. Now hum your own melody when you're in need. Know all of us will be here, right here, right here, here, right here, right here. We won't always hold you. You won't always want us to. But we will be with you all of your days. Give me your hand. Let's make up a new routine. Life wrecks our plans, and we keep on ad-libbing. No, you can be so many wondrous things here, right here, right here, here, right 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 here. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Your voice is so soothing. It's so nice, especially for the nighttime. I'm gonna try to go to bed shortly after this, and I feel like you're really helping me move in that direction, which is also so sweet for a kid's song.
Oh, well, good. Well, thank you. Lullabies are actually one of my favorite things to write. It's what I like to do.
I love that. I don't know if I've ever written a lullaby. It makes me want to try to write one, though.
Do it.
Yeah.
Hey, exercise.
Yeah, that's a good challenge. Well, I have a song for our single song show. This is so sweet. Um, I'm going to share a song that was inspired by the story of another songwriter friend of mine who grew up in a small conservative town in New Mexico. This is not the gay astronaut song, Audra, but come to my next show in the Bay and I will play that for you. No, this is kind of a song about growing up and realizing things are different than you originally thought they were. So I'll just kind of leave it there and play it for you. My mom was at the organ under Jesus' fiery body. She raised us to love God and to do right. She would open up her mouth and all the high notes would spill out. My mama is a shining light. My mama stretched her arms out and she held me to her chest. She whispered to me softly in the night that Monica, my choir director, was moving in. My mom said she's my shining light. And oh, I looked at Jesus on the wall, wondered what he thought. The school bus came next morning and I clutched my stuffy bear. The kids from church, they did not meet my eye. I took a breath and stood right up, my tears all running. I said, my mom has spent all of her life here in this town. As far as I'm concerned, I think my mom should wear a crown. My mama is a shining light. My mama is a shining light. Oh, I can't hear you. Are you muted?
I did mute myself. I was trying to improve the connection. And so I did, and I almost turned off my video, but it's a hard call, isn't it? Because when someone's doing something vulnerable, like playing music, you want to be like a face for them to.
I know. I'm so used to Zoom and maximizing like everything as possibly good as I can with Ethernet and everything. But thank you for bringing me into the Instagram Live world. I know it can be tricky with the tech sometimes, but thank you for being a supportive face, even if you couldn't hear everything.
Yeah, you're welcome. What I could hear was really beautiful, really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel so that song is about my friend who was in like a conservative Catholic family and, you know, had always been taught that it wasn't okay to be gay, it wasn't okay to have an abortion or anything that she thinks now very different. And her mom, came out to her as a lesbian, and then basically the same conversation was like, and your school choir director is moving in. She's my girlfriend and she's gonna move in. We're gonna live together. So it was this kind of complete 180 from the way that my friend had been raised to think about her family and herself. And they faced a lot of challenges and hardship being in their town and suddenly being like visibly in a queer family. But she told this story that I kind of touch on very briefly in the song, but in real life, she was on the debate team at school and they brought up like one of the debates that she was a part of was basically just like gay rights pro or con, and the kid who was arguing against her was like, you know, doing Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve kind of argument,
Oh, wow.
Christian arguments. And she, with help from her mom and from her mom's girlfriend, you know, wrote a really beautiful rebuttal and standing up for queer rights in her family. But people at school didn't necessarily know about her family. Like that was kind of her first publicly taking a stand for queer liberation. And she like understandably was crying as part of the debate, and afterwards the teacher was like, you know, you really shouldn't be so emotional when you have these debates, which is just like, can you imagine? And then also said at the end, like, what would you do if your mom was gay? And who knows if she knew that that was true or not. But my friend was like, I would love her. And like really taking that stand publicly in like, you know, 8th or 9th grade debate was a very than the way she had initially been raised, and it made a really big impact on her. And she also came out as queer later on, and I got to meet her mom and her mom's partner. They're still together, like I don't know, like 20 years later. They're both musicians. They're like in a band together. I got to play that song for them on Zoom a couple months ago. And it was really, really sweet.
Oh, this is all so moving.
Yeah, so I wanted to share that one, both because it's short
Oh.
and also because I think it's really meaningful because it's based on a true story.
Wow, yeah. No, that was a great choice. I'm so glad that you shared that one. Thank you for that. That was really awesome. Whew, it's emotional. So I'll move on to my next couple of questions
Great.
as a transition here. So, because this began in the age of pandemic and peak media, I like to ask this. What was the last thing that you watched and loved?
There's a couple things. My partner and I are watching the new season of Pen 15. Do you know that TV show?
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched that much of it, but I really liked the first episode, and I've been campaigning hard for that to be a show that we go through soon.
Yeah, it's definitely. So, for folks who don't know, two adult women play their middle school selves, and all the other actors are actual middle school actors. And they, you know, sort of alter themselves physically to be more convincing as middle schoolers. And it is incredibly well done. It's so weird and so emotionally honest. And it gets weirder and weirder as the seasons go on, but in like this really beautiful, lovely way. It makes me think a lot about middle school and just how rough it was.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that we all survived. Here we are as adults. Most of us got out alive. Yeah, so that I've really, really been enjoying. And the other show that we just finished recently, also a comedy that we loved, is What We Do in the Shadows. Do you know that show?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Amazing vampire mockumentary series. I love shows that are like completely unlike anything else. That just like I feel like really scratches the itch for me of what I'm looking for, especially in comedy for whatever reason. How about you? What have you been loving recently?
I just want to say that show is so good. And for Halloween this year, the show that was closest to Halloween, I covered the theme song from that show.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. Which like it was a pre-existing song. I didn't realize that, but somebody told me recently it's like from what, the 60s or something?
Yep. Norma Tanega.
Yes, love it.
Woohoo! Yeah. So the last thing that I watched and loved was, I don't know. I think I'll just answer quickly with the last thing I watched in general was a nostalgic favorite, something I watched as a child. and it was Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Nice.
So yeah, with my kids, just for like a, I don't know, seasonal thing to do, and it's pretty short. So it's like,
Nice.
hey, put this on.
Yep. I love when folks introduce kids to like their childhood favorites. I feel like it's always so hit or miss. You're either like, this is amazing, or wait, mom, people watched this when you were a kid. But either way, it's like
Yeah,
a good moment.
that got really interesting introducing them to some of like our favorite comedies.
Ah, yeah,
Because there's some comedy that does not age well,
that's true.
or like there were some movies that we watched as kids that like every kid watched, like not a problem at all. Every kid watches this movie, and then you watch it later, and it's like, what is going on? Children watch this?
I know. I was one of those kids who was like very not wanting to watch anything scary or inappropriate at all. Like I would literally look at the parent review website to be like, does this movie have too much violence or like upsetting things in it? I'm not going to watch it.
Oh, that's great. I
Which,
love that.
to be fair, I'm kind of still that way. I don't watch anything scary or anything explicitly violent. I'm just like, nope, that's not what I'm here for.
Yep, I am with you on that. I think that the switch flipped for me when I worked at a dementia care facility,
Mm-hmm.
and if anything, they would usually watch like Turner Classic Movies
Mm-hmm.
or Animal Planet or something,
Nice.
and you'd put that on for them, and then you'd be doing your job, getting people, showered or whatever they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, take them to the toilet or something, and then you come back, and there's like a lone old lady with dementia sitting on the couch, and in front of her face is like river monsters. All of a sudden it like went from Cats 101 to river monsters, or suddenly there's like a war epic on, and there are like people shooting each other, and she's just sitting there with her eyes wide and mouth agape, and it would like turn her day around.
Yeah.
Like, stuff is actually powerful. Like the images and things that we consume actually like can affect us in a deep way. So that was kind of the thing that made it not super cool for me anymore to watch things that are gratuitous, just to go like, wow, look what they can do. Look
Yeah.
how edgy they are.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side, that's like what we experience in media has such powerful impact on us. Like that's actually one of the things I think that's really powerful about being a musician and a songwriter, right? Is that like we're literally creating things to go into people's ears, and we get to choose, are we going to be creating things that are like really honest and real, that are uplifting,
Yeah.
that are like building towards the kind of world that we want to live in. And I'm certainly not a songwriter who only writes like happy, beautiful love
Right.
songs, although I do try to write music that is uplifting and that is like helping
Yeah.
to move towards justice. But, also some of my songs are just really like deep reflections on life, and they're pretty sad
Yeah.
in some ways. But I think that just being really conscious as an artist about the potential impact of your work as it moves
Yeah.
out in the world is something that is important to me, both as a writer and performer, and also as a songwriting teacher. Like thinking about
Yeah.
how are these things that we are writing in like the space of our rooms ultimately gonna go out and impact other people, because I think music can have such incredible positive impact, and it doesn't have to be your Beyonce selling millions of
Right.
whatevers. I don't know what people buy these days in terms of music, millions of t-shirts. But like even just a few people hearing your song and resonating with it, I think can be so incredibly impactful.
Yeah. Man, we are on the exact same page.
Mm,
Yep.
beautiful.
Well said. So well said. This has been amazing. Man, I've loved every minute.
I'm so glad. Yeah, it's so good to connect with you in this way, Meredith. Thank you for having me on your show and introducing me to doing Instagram lives. I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
now
I
I
hope
can
you
like
do more of them.
yeah, I can check off my like pandemic bucket list. Okay, I've gone through all of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else do you have coming up, speaking of pandemic bucket lists? What's going
Yes.
on?
I have my second in-person show in 2 years next month, which I'm very excited about. I just played my first in-person show in 2 years this past weekend where I live in Sacramento. But I have a show in Berkeley, California. I think it's January 16th. That sounds right. It's a Sunday in January and the afternoon at the Monkey House in Berkeley. It's going to be a lot of fun. I promise to play the Gay Astronaut song for anyone who is listening. Um, and I'm also playing a show in the Bay Area in Albany, California at the Ivy Room, February 13th. So Valentine's Day Eve. And that's going to be a queer country show that I organize, Queer Country West Coast, with me, Mia Byrne, who's a wonderful, wonderful songwriter.
She has been on the program.
She's great. Isn't she amazing?
Yes.
Side Pony and Polythene Pam. So 2 bands and 2 solo songwriters. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're interested in working on music with me, I have a bunch of classes coming up in the new year, including an intermediate songwriting class, a fundamentals of singing class, and I also host queer songwriter circles if you want to come and be a part of my workshop group. Those are all online, so you can just click the link in my bio and get more info on all of those.
Yay! Well, I would love to attend, if only just to get to hang out with you again.
Totally.
So fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast, and I hope I get to hear more of your music. I would love to come back and listen more in future weeks. Who are you having next week?
Next week, I believe I have a repeat guest next week. You're welcome to be a repeat guest as well. It is going to be Skunk Puppy once again. She's wonderful, or they're wonderful. I believe that she's the songwriter, Melissa, and then there's a proper band in service to the songs that she writes.
Nice, yes. Nice.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun one. Yeah, definitely come back sometime. It would be wonderful.
Sounds like a good time. I hope you have a really good night, Meredith. It was good to meet you and play with you a little bit.
Good to meet you too. And thanks to James and Audra for recommending you, for making this connection.
Yes, thanks, y'all. It's good to see you both here. Thank you for connecting us. Very sweet.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Stay safe and happy, I guess.
Yes, stay happy.
Yeah. All right. Bye.